What if you could create more kindness in the world just by being you? Everyone has the potential to create and receive more kindness. What if kindness is more than being nice and compassionate to others? Have you ever considered what having more kindness for you could create in your life? Get ready to learn how the energy of kindness is integral to reducing stress in your life and how it can assist in healing your body. Now, here is the host of Cultivating Kindness with Karen, facilitator of healing, Karen Leslie.
Welcome, everyone. I'm so excited to have you here with me today. It's a wonderful, gorgeous day where I am. We're in the middle of June. The weather's nice and sunny. And I'm just really, the word that's coming in is chuffed. I'm really chuffed to be here with you. So for those of you who don't know what that means, that might be a new word, it's a Scottish word. My husband's family is all from Scotland. And so chuffed is happy, proud, excited, feeling good about yourself and about what's going on. It's sort of all along those energies. And that really sums up how I feel today, showing up here with you and for you, for those who will be listening to the show on the recording. And I'm just grateful that you're here with me, Karen Leslie, your host for Cultivating Kindness with Karen. And we're here on the Inspired Choices Network, where we get together every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And yeah, I'm chuffed. That's such a weird one, but that's okay. So today we have a really interesting topic. I find it really interesting. And from the point of view that it has helped me in preparing for the show, it really has helped me to look at the word expectations from a completely different perspective than what I had before. You know, oftentimes expectations are kind of spun as being a good thing, right? They're to help you be accountable, help you be reliable. Being free of expectations, that can often be seen as someone who is not caring enough, not responsible enough, not doing your part, not holding up your end of the bargain, maybe, or however that may show up for you. So we value our expectations, and other people value having expectations of others as well. However, everyone has experienced some form of expectation being placed upon them. And not always is that a really good experience. Sometimes when somebody has an expectation of you, it can be quite heavy, quite weighty as to what they expect from you. And then we've got this whole other category of expectations that we put upon ourselves. Nobody else is involved. We just do it to ourselves on a regular basis. By the end of the show, I'm hoping that you'll be on the similar side to me, that that's not a good thing. Right. So there's a saying that I came across a while ago, that expectations are the foundation for disappointment. When you think about them that way, then it kind of can make you kind of go, wait, what? But truly, I'm going to say it again. Expectations are the foundation for disappointment. They are often the cause of our anxiety, of our stress, of perhaps low self-esteem, and maybe even something as hurtful and harmful as shame. So we'll go through this. We'll explain this more as we're going through the show today. But I really wanted to kind of set it up for you and let you know that having expectations of yourself or having expectations of others really is a double-edged sword, and rarely does it work out in the way that you think that it might or plan that it will. So we're going to look at one of the reasons, or a couple of reasons why we have expectations or put expectations in place. And we're going to talk about what life might be like if we let go of all of these expectations and free ourselves from having them. First, though, I want to start with the etymology of the word expectation. So in 1530s, this is what they had written down for a meaning of expectations. A state or condition of waiting or awaiting with confident anticipation. Also states anticipation and awaiting. And the third one here is preconceived opinions as to what will likely take place. When you look at those words or think about those words, like confident anticipation, waiting for something, or awaiting, to me, that has a very strong energy of something that's outside of myself or outside of the person that has the expectations. So when something becomes outside of us, dependent upon another, then we actually don't have a ton of say as to how things are going to turn out. We may think we do, and we often do. Mistakenly, we will take that perception of something. But when it's external like that, anything can happen. And what so frequently happens is that the other person or other people or situation or scenario doesn't line up exactly how we think, right? If it says in that definition, confident anticipation, to me, that means that you have a very good idea. Maybe you see it in your imagination. Maybe you spent time figuring out all the steps and the coordination of everything. So you are confident as to how it's going to turn out. But it might not turn out exactly how you thought. Hence why it can cause so much stress or anxiety, self-esteem difficulties, and as I said, even shame. We will get into this more, but I wanted you to start to think about what is your definition of the word expectation? How do you use it? Do these definitions from a long time ago, 1500s, do they fit with how you look at it as of today? The energy of the word expectation will still be carrying the energy of the words that I just shared with you. How we use a word may change. The way we interpret and the meaning of words has definitely changed over time. But the energetic component of that word still is within the word, and it still has an impact on every single one of us who uses the word, whether it be in thought, in writing, or by speech. All right. So, as you know, I use a lot of oracle cards when I'm putting things together for our shows. Usually I get the title of a show or an idea of what I want to talk about with you each week. And then I'll go and I'll ask I don't know how many I've got, 10 or so oracle decks, which one would like to contribute to the show. So the tree angel deck that I have was the one that kind of caught my attention and said, kind of pick me, pick me. So I took that deck out, shuffled my cards. I tend to wait for a card to kind of jump out of the deck as the one that I'm to work with. There's other ways of working with oracle decks. That's just one of my favorites. And the card that came out, it was for the birch tree. And it had some really interesting things to say. So I want to share them with you because I think they fit so well into, are we willing to let go of our expectations? So they all have a little sort of quasi poem. This one is, go deep within, empty yourself. Now open your eyes and see. Follow your heart and take your first step into a new world. So think about that. If you were actually to sit, ground yourself, center yourself, really go within and to empty yourself, I wonder what that would feel like or look like for you. when I did this, when I sat with these words and I actually went through this process, for me, it was, okay, I'm hearing the word liberating. That wasn't exactly what I was thinking I would say. Freeing was more the word I was thinking of, but I see how that they work together for me. Emptying myself, right? I was able to let go of, empty out, drop off at the corner expectations that were causing me difficulties, that were causing me unhappiness, that were causing me to be judgmental of other people. Like, ooh, yeah, for me, expectations has caused me over the years to be very, very judgmental. And I have been carrying around expectations for most of my life, like long, long time. And one of the expectations that I've held on to for decades is the expectation to be taken care of. Think of me what you want, doesn't matter. I'm just being honest with you here. I had a very strong expectation to be taken care of. And up to very recently, and I know in past shows, I have said that I wanted people to do things for me. That is just another way of saying the same thing. There was an expectation of people to do things for me because I had the expectation of being taken care of. And in my way of thinking, wonky or not, it doesn't matter. My thoughts were, if I didn't wish to do it, didn't know how to do it, didn't want to learn how to do it, or whatever it might be, then there was an expectation that somebody could do it for me. Whether I hired somebody to do things for me, or whether I had an expectation of it being gifted to me for free, be my family, it didn't matter. There was this foundation that I had of an expectation to be taken care of. This caused, as I said, so much judgment. It did not contribute to me. It held me back from so much. It stopped me from learning all kinds of things. I'm happy to say I'm most of the way on the other side of that. I do still find it comes up a little bit, and that's okay. I'm still working with it. Really, like, this has been with me for like 50 years, maybe longer, but that's what my memory can go back to at the moment. So the birch card, it talks about free yourself from expectations of others and those you place on yourself. Without birch, without the energy of the birch tree, you may become paralyzed by patterns of the past and fear change. I can so relate to that. I became fearful of things that were new. I became fearful that I didn't know how to learn new things. There was one time, well, I said it so much, fear of technology. And it was a little bit of my concern with choosing to be, one of the hosts on Inspired Choices Network. I was like, ooh, can I do this? And then, the CEO of Inspired Choices Network, Christine McIver, she put all that to rest instantaneously. Like, she was amazing at, the team at Inspired Choices Network is just phenomenal. There was no reason for me to have any fear or concerns or worries about technology. It was just one of my ways of getting in my way, preventing me from doing something I would like to do, right? I had built these walls around me that, in theory, were helping to take care of fears that I had. But what they did is they locked the fears in beside me. These expectations, it was like they shouldered up the walls of the barriers I'd put around me and helped to hold them in place. I'd rationalized that they were a good thing. I'd rationalized that this was helping me. But truthfully, it wasn't helping me. It was keeping me stuck. It was preventing me from doing something that I deeply desired to do. I had so many judgments of myself and of others, of circumstances. I had judgments as to whether you would show up. And I see that you do show up every week. And I'm very grateful for that. but that was part of my expectation that nobody would show up, nobody would listen, nobody would watch. An expectation created the judgment, all based on actions and choices of other people that I had no control over. All I have control over is showing up and being who I wish to be as Karen. So expectations really can be a slippery path. Yes, they can help us stay accountable to certain things, but you've got to understand if you actually wish to be accountable to that item. So on that note, we have come already to our first break. So we're going to take a couple of minutes and listen to a couple of the commercials here. And I deeply want to thank you for joining me here on the Inspired Choices Network for this week's episode of Cultivating Kindness with Karen. And remember, if you ever wish to get in touch with me, please send me an email, karen@karenleslie.ca. So don't go away. We will be right back. Thanks, everyone.
We all have different experiences with and definitions of kindness. These experiences and beliefs about kindness have influenced who we are today and how we see the world. The universe is always listening. So what are you telling the universe today? Tune in to Cultivating Kindness with Karen each week as Karen guides you to understanding how each choice you are making is either keeping you stuck or opening up the energy of empowerment for you. Listen to Cultivating Kindness with Karen, Wednesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Central Time, 12 p.m. Mountain Time, 11 a.m. Pacific Time on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email become a host at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is Cultivating Kindness with Karen. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also send an email to Karen@KarenLeslie.ca. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm so glad you're here. So, what do you think about the word expectation? Hopefully, and hopefully I have given you some new information and a slightly different way to look at it. And that's awesome. Even if you're uncomfortable with it, I'm super happy that I've got those little brain cells of yours kind of going, I wonder. To be centered within ourselves, to follow what it is that we choose to do in order to be able to step away from expectations that we place on ourselves or from others, truly requires us to follow our own path, so to speak. And I know that's a common phrase, but it means like we need to be able to follow what we truly desire to do. And it's when we are following what we desire, what we know is a contribution to ourselves, and not doing any harm to others, no detriment to other people. That's when, happiness, that's when everything starts to click for ourselves. But that's when you can say you're on your own path. But until you get to that space, the path you're on is still being very much dictated by the people around you or by the thoughts and beliefs you have that have been given to you by others. Expectations you put on yourself for following through on a task you said you would do, or showing up for somebody in a certain way. Recently, I was making regular visits to a hospital for a family member who was very ill. And I had a couple of comments about how often I was going and wasn't that nice of me. And people would say, like, were you expected to go? And it really made me pause and think, why was I going? Well, I knew I was going for me, 100% for me. Did it benefit the person I visited? Yes, absolutely. But did I just do it for that person? No. I didn't do it because of expectations from that individual. I didn't do it for expectations from other family members or close friends. I did it because that's what I wished to do. It made me feel good to go. And the benefit was it helped others. Those choices were following my inner path. Right? And that the birch card is all about that, when you've got those barriers up because of the fears you have, then you're not on your path. You're not able to empty out. You're not able to close your eyes, empty, and then open and see things from a new perspective. So why do we do all this? Right? Why do we have expectations? Why do we wish to have them? Or why do we feel it's okay for others to have expectations of us? And there's a whole slew of reasons, and that we could probably spend the whole hour just talking about those. But I want to go through a couple of them so you get a bit of an understanding. So one of the big reasons that we set in place expectations is control. Taking myself as the example, when I wanted everyone to do things for me, or I wanted to be taken care of, that was one of the ways that I looked at being able to control my life based on the fears I had of the world. Now, that may not make sense to you. That may actually seem backwards, and that's okay. But that is how I interpreted it. If I didn't have to do it, then I could actually just be in control of me. And that was a big enough job. People will have expectations of others to control their behavior. An expectation of, I don't know, Sunday dinners at your family's home every single week. And heaven forbid, whatever the reason, you can't make one of those Sunday dinners, or whatever it might be. Expectations of certain grades, expectations of how to dress, who you can date, like who you can marry, whatever it might be. That is a way of trying to control another person. Another way that we use expectations is to create obligations from another person, to get them to agree to something that they feel obligated, so they have to follow through, so they meet your expectation of them. It's similar to control. And we've been taught that it is poor behavior to not follow through on your obligations. So part of following your path is truly don't agree to something you don't wish to do, or that you feel that you can't follow through on. Know your reasons for saying yes or no, and make sure that they're a contribution to you and they're not harming others. Now, when I say not harming others, there's a caveat here. There's a way that can be turned around and made you feel bad about yourself. How somebody responds to your choice is their choice on how they're responding. They may flip it to you so that you feel bad about what you've just chosen to do or not do because they didn't like it. Right? That is just a form of manipulation or a judgment against you. So be careful, be aware on that one. Another reason we use or create or have expectations in place is if we're fearful for some reason, and it will help us, we think, with our fears. But as I was saying before we went to the break, right, these fears actually create these barriers. So if you're just joining us now, great, thanks, welcome. But really at the end, go back and listen to the first segment so you can understand that a little bit better. The amount of fear, the type of fears you have will dictate the different types of expectations that you're allowing. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. You can ponder on that one. Here's a big one. Anger. Anger has so many elements to it, but anger can result can result based on expectations not being met how you thought they were, so you get angry. But if we are prone to anger, then we will set up a lot of expectations of other people for two reasons, to be honest. One is so that maybe you won't be feeling the anger, and then the opposite's true. We can set up an expectation that we actually are pretty sure will fall flat on its face to justify our anger so that we can be angry. We can set up an expectation of ourselves that maybe we can't achieve. It's just way too big. It's too complicated, too whatever. And then when we don't meet it, we can be very judgmental onto ourselves and get very angry with our own behavior, our choice, our actions, our lack of actions. But anger is really a big part of expectations. And that's not one that many people think about at all. Most people look at it in the reverse way. And then this is one that I fall into still and used all the time. And that was patterns and habits. Based on beliefs I had, based on thoughts that I bought into, and based on watching other people, I had set up a whole series of expectations, right? Again, like wanting to be taken care of. I created a pattern of thinking that brought this forward for me all the time. Oh, I just want someone to take care of me. It would just come out of my mouth as if it actually meant nothing because it had become a part of my normal way of functioning. It created a pattern and a habit that was detrimental to me, to be very honest. It was detrimental. When we have expectations and we keep maintaining, holding on to, and reinforcing different expectations, we create these patterns and habits that actually shut down a lot of different opportunities, a lot of different experiences, and a lot of different emotions that if you didn't shut them down, could possibly create so much more for you in your life. But if you have that expectation that you don't deserve more, or you've got everything you could possibly have, then you're stuck. You're stuck. These patterns and habits are very much at the effect of your belief systems that you've gathered from other people, whatever they may be. And they are outdated and never designed for you because you never had a say in them. So let them go. All right, so there's a number of reasons as to why we think expectations are a good thing and why we put them in place, right? They are fundamentally a way of taking care of ourselves that when we look at it, backfire over and over and over again. So maybe a couple of those spoke to you and you can see how you're using expectations in a way that isn't helping to promote a greater life for yourself. And it may also give you an idea of where you're using expectations on others or towards others, and recognizing that that is not a healthy, happy, kind contribution to them at all. We are now at our second break already in our show. Thank you for being here on Cultivating Kindness with Karen. It's such a pleasure to be with you. I have all kinds of different social media platforms. Please Google me, Google Karen Leslie. You'll find me for sure. You can find me as well on any of the platforms that you may be on, such as Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. I'm around in all these places. I would love to connect with you on any of these platforms or all of them, as well as you can find me on the Inspired Choices Network, and you can access all of my shows and listen to all of the other amazing hosts that are here as well. So don't go away though. Please come back for our next segment. And we're going to talk about, okay, so what is the value in letting these go, and how might we go about letting these expectations release from us? Okay. Thanks so much, everyone. We'll be back shortly.
We all have different experiences with and definitions of kindness. These experiences and beliefs about kindness have influenced who we are today and how we see the world. The universe is always listening. So what are you telling the universe today? Tune in to Cultivating Kindness with Karen each week as Karen guides you to understanding how each choice you are making is either keeping you stuck or opening up the energy of empowerment for you. Listen to Cultivating Kindness with Karen, Wednesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Central Time, 12 p.m. Mountain Time, 11 a.m. Pacific Time on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
How wonderful would it be to carry your favorite Inspired Choices Network host with you throughout your day? Well, now you can. Inspired Choices Network now has its very own mobile app. Our free app offers live streaming shows, along with thousands of podcasts and TV episodes. Our shows cover a wide variety of topics. Whether you're waking up with us, carrying us through the day, and taking us to bed with you, we're always here for you to enjoy. We're easy to find. Just search for Inspired Choices Network in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store.
This is Cultivating Kindness with Karen. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also send an email to Karen@KarenLeslie.ca. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for being here with me today. I so enjoy your company. So these expectations, we've kind of looked at them and thought, all right, so they're not so hot. They're maybe not as good as you thought they were. And maybe you're even thinking, oh, I know of a couple of those that I can let go of. And maybe my life will be a little easier if I do so. I hope that that's how some of you are thinking. And I also know that not all of you will think that way. And that's cool too. What's really important is that you know why you're choosing each choice you're making. And it's my desire for all the work I do, whether it's here, with this show or working with my clients, whether it's group work or one-on-one work, it's to help people understand that the importance of making a choice based on what is right for you in that moment without being at the effect of the programming and beliefs that you've been carrying with you for your life is so valuable, so empowering, and so freeing. It really is. It's probably the doorway to creating what it is you would like to have. It's connecting into your body and understanding how to connect to your body to make these choices. And if some of the expectations that you have for yourself or that you know others have for you are working and are at a benefit for all, then great. Like there's an expectation that if you have children, that you're to get them to school on time. Now, every now and then stuff happens, yes. But the expectation for you, for your children, for the teachers, for everyone in the school, is that you will get the kids there on time. That is an expectation you've placed either on yourself, but you also know that it's been placed on you that works for the people involved. Not a problem. look at some of your other expectations, and they may actually not be the same contribution to you, to your family, and to those around you. Quite a while ago, a few years ago, actually, I put a post out on social media and it said, "When the waters are calm, clarity comes." And that still rings very, very true for me. When the waters are calm, clarity comes. And this is, I'm bringing this up now, it's popping into my thoughts from the perspective of when we are working with expectations that are not a contribution to ourselves, it muddies the waters around us, right? It can cause the anger, it can cause self-judgment, all those things that I spoke about in the previous segments of today's show. To be on that inner path, to have that calmness there, that is where we find the clarity as well. So when our waters are not calm because of responses, reactions, and energies that come up around times of being under expectations, we are not able to center and respond and make choices in the same way that would be a benefit to ourselves. When we let go of all of these expectations, or whatever ones you wish to, you will enable yourself to have greater clarity and greater awareness of what you would like to be choosing each day, each moment even. And this is really, really important. When we come out of the burden of carrying an expectation or an obligation, and we step into the freedom of making a choice in the moment, the freedom of following through with the action that follows that choice, and we get to witness what it creates, it's wonderful. It's fabulous, even if it creates something that's not exactly what you thought it might. Now, the only reason you're going to get to that place of it's not exactly what I thought what it might be is because you were not fully honest and did not have an expectation. If we judge it, then somewhere we had a belief as to how things were going to go. It can be really subtle, really sneaky as to how our judgments and expectations are always just below the surface. When you can recognize them, when you give yourself permission to see how often they're there, how many dozens of times in a day they are there, right? Think of the word should, could, wish I had. Those words are tied into expectations, either from self or from another person. We know that if we actually pause and listen to our thoughts and hear the words we're thinking and speaking, that there are so many times that we will say something that actually isn't a kindness towards ourselves. And it is a reinforcement of a belief or a behavior that we're not ready to let go of yet. And that's okay. I'm asking you just to start your awareness, right? When we get to that space of finding something that we want to let go of, that can look like a challenge. Now, one of the things you can do, which I talk about all the time because I love it so much, is calling in waves of kindness. So if you recognize a judgment or an obligation or something like that, that you're about to follow through on or have started following through on, and you went, oh, wait. If all you do is just call in waves of kindness, and right, you just say those 3 words, waves of kindness, and that energy will start to flow to you and move right through your body. And what it does is, as it's moving through, is it pulls out the energies that are not a contribution to you, including that moment of judgment you may have had because, oh, look what I'm doing. including that area of your body that responded on a cellular level to that response. Waves of kindness, such a simple tool, but oh my gosh, so dynamic. You can use this. Another way of looking at what expectations you want to let go of is journaling, writing down. Okay, so you could start your day tomorrow, let's say, or the day after that you're listening to the show. Start it off in the morning and you could write out your to-do list. Okay, what needs to be accomplished today? If you have your own business or you're working for an employer, you could have a list as to what that needs to be, and then you can have your own personal list. You can even have one for your family, and write all these down as to what needs to be accomplished during your day. And then go through them and look at them one by one and see which ones are based on an expectation. Which ones are based on actual choice for you that feels like a contribution to you or to your day or to people around you. I would really encourage you to do this exercise. I think you'll be very surprised as to how many items on that list are based around expectations. Whether you put them there on yourself or whether they're imposed from others. Then find one, pick one that you feel ready to let go of. And look at it and ask yourself, well, you can call in waves of kindness as you're thinking about it, but you can also look at it and ask, what else is possible here? Am I doing this, whatever the task is, for me or for someone else? Is there a way to shift this task so that it can be a contribution to both of us? That's always an option. You can maybe change things around. Is there a way of looking at this expectation so that I can shift how I'm looking at it in this moment? Perhaps it brought up some resentment. Perhaps it brought up a little bit of fear or control. So what can you do with that new awareness? You can flow waves of kindness through it, of course. But ask the question, what else is possible? And let yourself just pause for a moment and see if you get a different idea. You can look at that expectation as well and see, where did it come from? And if you think it's yours, ask truth. Use the word truth. Truth, is this really mine? Or did it come from somebody else? Is this a thought, a belief, a behavior that you've been carrying with you for so long that you believe it to be real and true as yours? And when you discover that it may have its deep roots based in a teachings or words that were repeated to you over and over again when you were young, but it's rooted in something from another person, that gives you great information as to whether you would like to change it, drop it, or carry on with it. Allow yourself to be very honest as you go through this task and see what you would like to change for yourself. As you let go of expectations and you start to change things around so that you're feeling more energized, more enthusiastic about your day, more creative, however it's going to show up for you, then you're going to be encouraged as to look at new ones. And what else might I like to change? What other shoulds can I get rid of? What other could haves can I drop? Because that's in the past. What would I like in this moment? So in this moment, we need to go to another break. So thank you for being here with me. And I'm thrilled that I get to come along and hang out with you every Wednesday afternoon. So give some thought to how you might set up that list. Think about it over just the next moment or two. And after the break, we'll come back and we'll kind of wrap all of this up and see where we can get it so that maybe you'll have the comfort to change some of those expectations that you're carrying around with you. All right, everyone, please don't go away, and I'll see you shortly. Thanks.
We all have different experiences with and definitions of kindness. These experiences and beliefs about kindness have influenced who we are today and how we see the world. The universe is always listening. So what are you telling the universe today? Tune in to Cultivating Kindness with Karen each week as Karen guides you to understanding how each choice you are making is either keeping you stuck or opening up the energy of empowerment for you. Listen to Cultivating Kindness with Karen, Wednesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Central Time, 12 p.m. Mountain Time, 11 a.m. Pacific Time on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. This is Cultivating Kindness with Karen. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also send an email to Karen@KarenLeslie.ca. Now, back to the program.
Well, welcome back. We are in our last segment. So let's see how we can wrap all of this up for you so that you may be able to look at the expectations you're carrying for yourself or the expectations that you know that others have for you, and give you an opportunity to look at things differently, to look at what truly works for you, not based on past experiences, but what would you like going forward? How would you like things to be? What would your days look like if you made that list and you got rid of expectations and you filled that paper with something that made you smile, and then something else that made you laugh, and then something else that made you feel good about yourself? You accomplished something, you hit a target, you achieved something. Maybe you created something you didn't expect. All of this is possible when we get out from underneath the weight of expectations. And they are a weight, they truly are. You know, there's I don't know what it's called, but a physical condition where you get kind of a hump on your back and people lean forward and they get physically, body physically changes on the back. And from an energetic perspective, that is somebody who will look at as carrying the burdens of the world. When you're carrying burdens, they're loaded with expectations. Tons of expectations that you feel that you need to do something with that have been placed upon you by yourself or others. You can physically change your body. I remember I'm an energy practitioner, I'm an energy healer, and I've been doing that type of work, I don't know, 28, 29 years, something like that. And that is always in the background when I'm working with my clients. I'm always working with the cells of your body. It's not just what's in the head. What's in the mind, yes, critical. But what's happening in your whole body is also critical. That weight that you carry of expectations, it may show in pounds on your body as well. It can show up in so many different ways. It can show up in an illness. When we let those go and we allow ourselves to be in the moment, to follow that inner path that I spoke about at the beginning of the show, when we invite in that birch tree energy and we let it flow through us, then there's so much that can change, that we can create. Remember, if you take nothing away from today's show, but this line, then I will be so happy. Expectations are the foundation for disappointment. Disappointment within yourself and or disappointment with others, right? I mean, I think back to when my boys were little and I had different expectations as to different ages for milestones. And I mean, when kids are little, it's awful. Parents are constantly comparing them. Well, how old was your child when he or she walked? How old was your child when they did this? How old was your child when, he or she started to read. How old were they and then they just fill in the blank. We carry these expectations as a result of comparisons given to us by others. Now, they may be very well-meaning, and it may be just a topic to be able to have a conversation. But think about what it puts into your head. Think about how you end up looking at that lovely child. It's no different. We carry this with us all along. Not being, how do I want to phrase this? Not being seen as responsible, to allow yourself to not be seen as reliable. That may be really difficult for many, many people. And I still struggle with it too at times. I have some events coming up that I'm choosing to not go to that I know there's an expectation of me being at. But for my personal reasons, I know why I'm choosing what I'm doing or not doing. Being okay with another person not liking my choice, that's going to be a necessary part of letting go of your expectations. Because you're going to ruffle some feathers. You're going to have people object to this change in your behavior and your patterns because you've always been reliable and I've always been able to trust that you would do this or whatever it might be. And you're going to possibly get some flack and get maybe some unkind words spoken to you. Be okay with that to the best of your ability. If I can help you with that, let me know, because it is definitely an area I have a lot of experience in. Learning how to be okay as being seen as wrong, that's a challenge. And I did a show on that. You can go back into the archives, go into the podcast on Inspired Choices Network. Go to podcasts, and then on the drop-down menu, look for Cultivating Kindness with Karen, and all my shows will be there. I did a show on, it's okay to be seen as wrong. And I can't remember the exact title, but it doesn't matter. You'll recognize it when you see it. But it takes courage to come out of expectations and to know that some people are going to say things or respond in a way that could feel hurtful, that you could feel bad because they get upset or whatever this whole myriad of emotions is going to be that's going to present itself. But I can promise you that sooner or later, with the expectations you let go of, you're going to experience that. So it's a heads up, but it's a good thing because it is a confirmation that that expectation that you have been carrying was not a contribution to you. It was placed upon you by others for any of those reasons that we spoke about earlier. I think it was in the second segment, whether it's for control or fear or whatever it might be, it was placed there upon you. And the ones you placed on yourself, maybe that's the place to start with which ones you can let go with more ease. Remember waves of kindness. Remember to look at, where did this idea come from? How in the world did I get to this place where this is how I constantly think now? Hint, childhood. That's okay. You always, always have the power to change what's going on in your life. And to be honest, I personally take it that I have an obligation to change what's happening within my body if I wish to have a healthier body than I have in this moment. Thank you for being here with me today. I am so blessed to have you here. Please join me next week. I am different. I'm not wrong. So,
thank you for listening to Cultivating Kindness with Karen. Karen Leslie returns Wednesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Central, 12 p.m. Mountain, 11 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can find Karen at KarenLeslie.ca and follow her on social media. Until next Wednesday, Karen is sending you waves of kindness for a fabulous week. Remember, it's only you who has the power to be and receive the kindness required to change your life.